Let's get ready to rumble!
Sports Extra is bringing you the hottest sports updates starting now in 3, 2, 1. Welcome in, everybody, to this lovely Monday afternoon. The weather outside, it is fantastic. And you know another thing that's fantastic? Indiana State sports right now, especially the baseball team. But before we can get into any of that conversation, of course, I'm Coby Clark. Straight ahead to me today, CJ Cooper.
The big Coby.
How we doing, CJ?
I'm doing great. A pleasure to be on here as always. How are you doing, Coby?
You know, man, I can't really complain. Life is going pretty well right now. And now it's going to get even better because I get to be in the presence of a D1 athlete talking ball for an hour.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Always is.
Always a pleasure.
Hope everyone is out there enjoying this weather in your car, whether you're listening in a hammock next to a tree, on your own radio or cellular device. Sports Extra from every 6 to 7 Mondays. It is a fantastic listen, and we appreciate when you guys, be able to say that to us, whether we are out in public or tweet us at WZIS-FM. Speaking of that, follow all of our social media at WZIS-FM, and you can also be a part of student media and WZIS if you just come to the third floor of Dreiser, room 323. I thought you were going to say something, TJ. I'm sorry.
I'm just letting you cook right now.
Hey,
You're
man.
making it sound amazing. I love it.
No. I only do it because I see your greatness, and it just rubs off on me. So, a pretty stacked slate on today's show, CJ. But before we get into that, I just want to ask, how was your Easter weekend? Do you see the family at all? Any friends?
Yes.
Eat some good food?
Yes. So this Easter weekend, it's always great to be with family. Always great to be with the people you love. I went up to Indianapolis where my sister lives, which is only an hour from Terre Haute. And I just was with my family. We ate some good food and just talked about just life. And it just makes you realize how much family matters. And I'm appreciative of that. How about you, Coby? What did you do?
Well, CJ, I'll tell you, I took the hour trip as well, but I went to Danville where my family is. Got to see my grandma, my mom, brother, my mom's boyfriend, just having a good old time there. Watch the Masters on TV. So
shout
out the Masters, man. I love getting to that. And also shout out quickly to Jim Nance. He is calling his final four NCAA tournament, and now he just called his final Masters, which is very crazy to see. I know. He deserves so many flowers on top of more flowers.
Yes.
For how
Jim
well
Nance
he's done.
Is just amazing. He gives me motivation. He gives you probably motivation because just the way that he articulates what he's saying and just the way that he's just very comfortable in his skin. And what I mean by that is just able to just break down any game, any sport. Like for you to have the versatility to call a Masters game and call a NCAA Final Four game, it still makes it interesting. Like I watch the Masters just to hear him because he makes it sound so intriguing. So I love it. And yeah, I'm going to miss Jim Nance, definitely.
Jim Nance was definitely part of, especially at least my childhood, just watching every Sunday on CBS, some football, just hearing him, and watching some basketball, of course, with college hoops. And then, it took me a little later to really appreciate the sport of golf. I'm nowhere near good, I'll tell you that. But, man, it's a lot of fun getting to hear him talk about it, getting to see all these pro athletes out there on the green in Augusta. And maybe one day I'll be there. Just kidding. Never.
I'll be rooting for you, Colt.
Hey, man, I'm going to have to get a lot of work in. But you know who has been getting some work in as of late? The Indiana State Sycamores.
Yes.
Specifically, we're going to talk out first with the baseball team and how well of a job they are doing right now, because this team alone is just flat out blowing opponents out of the water. Sure, yeah, it's very close games. But the way that they're playing right now, from when I saw them on Friday throughout the weekend against Illinois State, it was just dominating baseball on the defensive end, which then led to the momentum side of the offensive side. So when you look at it, with Indiana State baseball, they swept their weekend matchup against the visiting Illinois State Redbirds. They improved to an 18-12 overall record, which is also going to an impressive 8-1 record inside the Missouri Valley Conference. I mean, Matt Jacek, he has just been dominating on the mound here lately.
Yeah.
That's why he's just so well touted, and a lot of other schools look at him as like example A on how to teach and see what they can become.
Yeah, just the Indiana State baseball team is on a 6-game winning streak right now, and we're just dominant. Like, I don't think I have seen this baseball team play as good as this stretch. I mean, with scores 13-7, and then we go to UIC and we beat them 10-1 in a dominant fashion. They didn't even belong on the same baseball field as us, honestly. And then
that's some shots right there.
Yeah, they didn't though. They didn't at all.
We the real ISU.
We're the real Sycamores. And then just for us being a Big Ten opponent by Indiana 4-0, just showing that we can compete with the big dogs. Well, nobody should fear Indiana. Nobody should fear the big teams because Indiana State is here. Mm-hmm. We are here, Coby.
That's what I want to hear.
And I'm here for it.
Roll trees, baby.
Roll trees. And, Illinois State, what we do to them. The worst ISU. We come for our rivalry game, and we just dominated them, and I love it. So I'm happy with our baseball team right now, 6-game winning streak, and I'm excited to see what they do tomorrow against Purdue. Hopefully we make it 7 because roll trees, baby. Roll trees.
Yeah, Purdue, that's going to be an insane matchup. They're going to be playing them on the road over in West Lafayette. I believe the first pitch for that matchup is 6 p.m.
Yes.
So good luck to our Sycamore baseball team getting to see them out in action over there playing it's Purdue. Every time you see the School of Indiana or Purdue on any Indiana State schedule, whether what sport it is, it's just has that big time feel where we're not really I feel like it all started back, no offense, CJ, but I feel like it started all the way back in basketball where we kind of grew from that little brother aspect. I mean, sure, we're not like Butler, we're not like Ball State or other schools like that, but Indiana State is just growing a lot right now, and I'm seeing it all around campus.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it with football as well.
Our campus is really starting to grow with us. I feel like in previous years, Indiana State didn't have that campus chemistry. And what I mean by that is, you see a student athlete walking by and you want to speak to him. But now you see any student athlete, it don't matter the sport. Everybody knows each other. We making sure that we show the support, and I love that for our campus. And like you were saying, I don't think we're the little brothers no more in any sport. We have shown that we can compete with these guys. We have recruited so that we can play with these guys. And I'm just honestly excited to see next year's basketball team, this year's football team, this year's baseball team, because honestly, we are really ready to compete. I think that we are ready to compete in all aspects, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, just going right back now to ISU and the baseball team. I mean, I called the game on Friday, and from what I saw from everyone out there, especially Seth Gurgley, shout out to you, man. You're the legend.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
He's dominant.
He is just a powerhouse. Just his on-base percentage, his hitting percentage on the season. He has done a phenomenal job impressing me and a lot of Sycamore fans and in the media just alike. They got the win on Friday 2-0, and then when you go to Saturday, they're playing him again, and it's just always those back-to-back-to-back games where it's okay, now they understand our system here, now we're gonna have to throw something else out there, whether that be pitching changes or just a different batting lineup, but everything worked pretty well on Friday. It was just a very defensive battle game. I
mean, look at Seth, for example, averaging 340. That is brilliant.
It is.
He's so close to 400, and he's that is amazing. 340 as a batting average is crazy. And then with Luis, 308, that's also good too. And 286 by Randall is good. We have hitters. We can hit the ball, and that's huge in baseball. Everybody knows that. And that's why I think that we're on the 6-game winning streak, because we are connecting with the ball. We're able to hit the ball. We're playing defense like Coby just mentioned. And this team, we're going to be ready. We're going to be ready.
And then you go to look at Saturday's game, which our very own Blake Simpson, he was on the call for that one.
Yes.
And we got a little bit of extra inning free baseball, where it only took one more extra inning, but an Urnaneda walk-off to end that one, winning 4-3. And then going to Zach Stidham's Sunday matchup where he had that game. He called out that one here on Z90.7. And they still came out on top, even in a battle like that, because even though the record shows that Illinois State is not the best overall in the MVC right now, they're always going to give us tough battles because of the history and just the knowledge that they have against us like that. It always brings just something different.
Always.
Any sport. Football, basketball, baseball, softball, whatever.
It's just when you go to Illinois State, you're expected to beat Indiana State. And when you come to Indiana State, you're expected to beat Illinois State. It's a rivalry, and we both hate each other. So every time we play against each other in any sport, we try to put it to them. And I think our baseball team is over excelling our expectation.
Yes.
They're playing great baseball. They're dominating. They're 8-1 in the Missouri Valley Conference, and yeah, they're ready. They're ready to go, and I'm excited for them.
I think what's exciting me the most is the fact that this is their best opening season with the record-wise since before I was born. Probably since you were born, 1998 to be
I was
exact.
definitely not born.
Yeah. I was going to say. They went 12-1 inside the Valley, and now if they could just keep up a couple of more, obviously Purdue's not in the MVC, but a couple of more MVC games coming up, they could potentially beat that former record.
Yeah.
And then see how well they can do. I mean, I just feel like the game of baseball, whether really any sport, baseball still tries to re-image itself.
Yeah.
And it's changed over so many years and decades, and I really like this team right now, and I'm excited for what they got, the future-wise.
I love this team right now, and I think that they can go very far in whatever what they want to do.
Yeah, so good luck, Indiana State. Keep doing your thing, the baseball team right now. They will be playing Purdue tomorrow on the road in West Lafayette. First pitch is set for 6 p.m., and then they have away games coming up. And then, of course, any home game that we are allowed to call, you will hear it here first from Z90.7.
Yes, sir.
Let's focus now on some Indiana State softball, CJ, because they went, unfortunately, 1-2 over the weekend. But it was still a very impressive win for them coming out against UNI, because this team, this UNI team, they have not lost an MVC matchup until they met Indiana State on Saturday. You know, Sackett threw a complete game as the Sycamores handed UNI their first MVC loss. Now they're moving up to they were now 19-19 after Sunday's loss, unfortunately, which is, you know, an 8-5 record inside the Valley. Whereas UNI, you go from 10-0. Well, you went from 9-0 to 10-0, and then 10-1. You finished at 11-1 record. Don't get me wrong, after this past weekend, but something like that builds a lot of confidence after you beating number one. Even if it's only one and you lost the other two, they're still reasonably close games, 8-3.
I think it just shows about our softball team. We have been very up and down this year, having a record of 19-19. It literally we win one game, we lose another game. We win one game, and it's just a lot of inconsistency play by us. But winning against UNI shows a lot.
Yes,
it shows that we can play with the big dogs. It shows that we're competitive, and it shows that, like, if we come out there with the confidence that we can beat them, we will. And I think our softball team don't get not a lot of credit because they're only 19-19, but they are a pretty good team. They just had some up and down games, and they couldn't hit the ball on certain games, but they'll be fine. I like their chances.
I like to see that they can turn up just a little bit, and it's going to be kind of fun, you know, seeing what this team can bring to the table, because I'm one for softball. I really like how softball, even though it's kind of similar to baseball, it's still different in multiple different ways, whether that be no leadoff or a pitcher's mound, it's a pitcher's circle, or just how the fact that it's just smaller. I think women in sports deserve a little bit more recognition for what they're doing and going through, because I love women's basketball, I love soccer. Like, we have a great soccer team. You and I was just talking about it.
Yeah.
And I think Indiana State, boys teams, women's teams, everywhere you look, there's always some bright spot you could take in going into the offseason, into next season, and it just feels like so much momentum is building away further.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's so much momentum going into this program, so much momentum going into this season with softball. I mean, 19-19, it sounds just mid, but at the same token, us being UNI, we should go all into the offseason knowing that we can compete, and we just a couple recruits, a couple games, a couple chemistry away from being the UNI of the Missouri Valley Conference.
Definitely. I would like to hope that a lot of our sports here at ISU can do such a thing, and hey, whether they like to prove it or not, I still like to believe it. So still plenty of softball left to come this season. Sycamores will look to get things back on track when they play tomorrow against the Evansville Purple Aces, set for 4 p.m., and that will be here at home. So good luck to Indiana State baseball and softball with your upcoming matchups on Tuesday. Should be a lot of fun. I want to focus now on some Indiana State basketball news, CJ, as we focused and talked a little bit as this man right now, a new transfer was breaking news came our way just a few hours ago. Sycamore signed transfer Isaiah Swoop
Swoop. Yes. Swoop.
Isaiah Swoop. Josh Schertz, of course, the Sycamores head coach, he announced this today out of the University of Southern Indiana. 5'10", he's an incoming junior guard. He's from Newburgh, Indiana. He capped off his sophomore year at USI with first-team All-OVC honors, which I believe is the Ohio Valley Conference,
yes,
and second-team NABC All-District recognition. That alone gives me a lot of potential for a dominant backcourt of a Larry and Swoop for defensive purposes.
Yes. Larry is a great defensive guard, and I love the way that Julian plays. But Isaiah is the guy that we need for this job. And the reason I say that is because he's averaging 16 points a game, 3.5 assists, and 2.4 rebounds with 46% field goal percentage. So he doesn't shoot the ball crazy, but at the same token, we need a scorer. With us losing our top scorer this year for him declaring to the draft, we need another scoring guard, and Isaiah comes in and fits the role perfectly. He's a kid from Newburgh, Indiana, and he's an Indiana kid, and I think that this just is a great fit. I think that him and Julian can play off each other, and I'm excited to see how they play off each other because Julian needs the ball in his hand, but he can also be a great slashing guard, which is great. And Isaiah likes to, he can shoot the three ball very good. He can drive, but he also has very good court vision. So I would like to see what's in the future for next season.
And that's one thing I want to talk about because whether, you look at it, glass half full, glass half empty. This Sycamores team last season proved a lot of people wrong. Yes. And there were so many people saying, they're just going to finish, bottom half of the valley. And it's whatever, just basic Indiana State basketball. That's what they've always been. That's what they're always going to be.
Yeah.
Ever since the 80s of Larry Legend here.
Yeah.
But this team took a next step. I think they finally woke up and heard all this backlash coming their way. So they went out and proved that. And it also helps when you got a great mind like Josh Schertz and you have such great leadership from every senior, whether it be Cooper, whether it be Calix, who didn't really play that much, Jason Kent, for example, Cam Henry alone. That man would make me want to run through a brick wall. I just love Cam. I love just this whole atmosphere that team brought. But now we're looking to see if they can build off of what they just brought us this past season. And now with Robbie going into his sophomore year, Julian going into his junior year, this whole brand new just identity is going to be formed for ISU, and Isaiah Swoop is one of those guys. Josh Schertz had to mention about this. He said, and I quote, Isaiah has a rare combination of quickness along with elite shooting and savvy, which allows him to excel both as a scorer and a shot creator for his teammates. His ability to get his own shot or get his shoulders by and touch paint at any time will give our offense a completely different dynamic. Just as importantly, he's a perfect cultural fit. Isaiah is obsessed with honing his craft and improving, loves competition, and prioritizes team success over anything individual. Tell me that doesn't just sound like the ideal Sycamore here, especially with what Josh Schertz has been implementing.
It fits him. It fits us. He can score the ball. He can guard. Like what he said, he's a savvy guard, but he's a competitor. We need a guy that wants to take the game-winning shot. We need a guy that can play off of Robbie. Robbie is probably the best center in the Missouri Valley Conference right now.
Write that down.
Going into his sophomore year.
Keep it.
We need somebody that can play off the pick and roll. Julian played great with the pick and roll, but imagine Isaiah who can shoot the ball so effectively and is a scorer. Now you can't just hedge off of Julian, or now you can't double Robbie as much because you have a guard that's willing to shoot the ball anytime. And at the end of the season, Julian, Larry began to learn how to shoot the three ball and begin to be a better shooter. But Isaiah is already a shooter. He already is ready to go. And because of that, I think that he's going to be dominant for Indiana State. He's going to be the player that we're missing, and he's going to push us to the next level. The Missouri Valley Conference is wide open. Drake lost all 5 of their seniors. It's wide open. Belmont is still going to be good, but we're going to be good. So
I think we're going to get better, which
we're going to be
crazy.
better, honestly. We got the confidence. I think Robbie's going to be dominant his sophomore year.
He's only going to get stronger. He's going to get better.
Yeah.
I mean, just being in this system and being under just, I guess, the control of Josh Schertz is just it's kind of crazy to think that this team did so well, and now even though they did lose a lot, they're still going to be bringing in and looking towards this new era of Indiana State basketball and Indiana State athletics. But the one thing that I have to note real quick, even though Isaiah Swoop is 5'10", that's going to raise some eyebrows. It's going to raise some concerns. What do you think exactly is, what's going through his mind, especially with how people can just transcribe that a little bit?
I think what's going through his mind is he gets to prove that he's able to play, he can play high-level basketball.
Exactly.
Going from the Ohio Valley Conference, it's not as big as the Missouri Valley Conference. Nowhere near. And
this conference is slept on.
This conference is one of the best mid-major conferences. I mean, it shows in the tournament. Look at Loyola. Look at Drake. I mean, Drake played Miami the best that they got played until the Final Four. So this conference is not to sleep on. And I think that's why he came here, to prove that he can play with the big dogs, that he's ready to go against a good guard play in the Missouri Valley Conference. And he's ready not to go against it, but to dominate it. So I think going through his head is just him getting the opportunity to not only be a star on this team, but to play in a system that is a free system, that is 5-man out, that just, fits him. He doesn't have a center. Robbie is unique by the way that he can shoot the 3-ball and how open he is, because he can post up. So he's not in the paint. So he can attack the paint, Isaiah, and he can just play basketball. He can play freely. And I think Southern Indiana wasn't a place where he can play freely. Mm-hmm. But here in Indiana State, I think that he can play as freely as possible, and he's just ready to go. And I like this move by Indiana State.
Well, we're already on the topic of basketball here at Indiana State. Might as well give a shout-out to our man Courvoisier McCulley.
Yes,
One
sir.
name I did not mention. Breaking news on social media, his own social media, he announced he is going to follow up and going into the 2023 NBA draft. CJ, what is the all likelihood that McCulley will get drafted or be picked up by an NBA team?
I think that he had a great Missouri Valley Conference, so that can help him. Only thing is, he is kind of older. Mm-hmm. He's about 23-ish, and I think that if he has a great combine, maybe he can get picked up in the late second round-ish, but he won't be a first-round pick because of just how old he is and just not being really a point guard at the size he is, because he's a 6'4" combo guard-ish. Yeah. He plays small forward here, but in NBA he'll have to be like a point guard-ish. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if he can show that he can dribble the ball, that he can be a facilitator, then I have no problem with him getting drafted, or no problem with him being a G League guy and then going to NBA, because he has talent. He can shoot the ball. He's a competitor.
He just got to really work on him more, I feel.
He's good.
So, I mean, it's a process with him, I think. Yeah. There's definitely the red flag when you're like, oh, the age, but then you're like, oh, Indiana State, there's just so many things that could go against him. But I think if one team is smart enough, I don't think personally, I don't know if he'll get drafted. But a team like the G League or someone that can bring him up, where we've seen multiple kind of guys in college basketball think that they're going to get drafted and then immediately get a phone call the day or just the minute after the NBA draft concludes, getting the agents on the phone and be like, hey, they want to sign you, they want to play you in the summer league. Something like that can go a long way to get his name and recognition out there more, and that his performance can go a long way as well. So,
yeah, I could definitely see him doing good in the summer league, and if he does good in the summer league, then
if he's given the right minutes,
if he gives him the right minutes, he does good in the summer league. I can see him getting picked up. I just think that, like what Coby said, he's gonna have a lot of knocks on him going into the draft. But I mean, that doesn't mean anything. Look at these guys now. Look at a DJ Augustine or our favorite George Hill.
Oh, yeah.
They all had questions coming out the draft, especially George Hill coming from IUPUI. Nobody know what IUPUI was then. So he's going to have to prove himself, but I don't think that he's going to be afraid of the challenge. I think that he's going to accept the challenge. I think that he's going to be dominant with the challenge. So I'm rooting for him, and I hope that he gets drafted. But if not, then a better underdog story. Let him just attack it any way he wants to.
Absolutely. Good luck, and we wish you all the best, Courvoisier. A lot that you did for this program. All MVC Newcomer of the Year award winner. Just a lot of good memories with everything that happened this past year. And we're excited for what Josh Schertz, Avila, Swoop, Larry, and some others can bring to the table next year and the years after that. We're going to take a quick break, CJ, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Indianapolis Colts and what's going on here today. And then, of course, we're going to focus a little bit longer, a lengthy one, on the end of the regular season from the Indiana Pacers. Talk about the highs of the team this past year, the lows, where they're going to look at for the NBA draft and free agency. So here we go. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. A 1-minute break here on Sports Extra.
You are a waste. A loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas, then get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Hey, Mom. Why is the sky blue? Why don't animals talk? Why do dogs have wet noses? Why is an 11 pronounced 1T1?
Kids ask a lot of questions.
Why do I have a belly button?
But you don't have to know every answer.
Why is the ocean salty?
Because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent.
Why are there 50 states?
There are thousands of children in foster care who don't need every question answered.
Why is pizza round?
They just need you. For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to your favorite sports talk show here on the campus of Indiana State University, Sports Extra. CJ, let's talk about it, man. The Indianapolis Colts. We've talked about this for a good time now. Yes. And with now less than 3 weeks remaining until the the NFL draft, some question marks are being, thrown out there. I mean, last week we had a whole segment of trying to say, hey, Lamar would be a good fit here if they were to be traded. That looks very unlikely after they just gave Odell Beckham Jr. It seems like the key to the city with $18 million.
$18 million for 1 year is absurd. Absurd.
It's a little too much if you ask me. But I know he's that kind of player, and if he's healthy, we haven't seen him in a whole year. Last time we saw him, he was injured, and he still won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I hope Baltimore knows what they're doing right.
I hope they've seen him work out multiple times before giving him that $18 million.
I would hope. That's a lot of money for a guy like that, just on a 1-year deal. I mean, you can't even sign your franchise quarterback to a deal. I don't know.
But you could give him $18 million for 1 year?
That's what I'm saying. What's going on in Baltimore right now?
What is going on in Baltimore? Who's the executive? So let's make a conversation.
Tell
them to pull up to WZIS. We need to talk.
We got some questions, and we need answers. But besides that, the Indianapolis Colts, they did return to the Indiana Farm Bureau Football Center today as they began their off-season workouts. And one thing that many people don't know about this is every team that gets a new head coach from last season to now, they get to start just a little bit earlier. So, of course, head coach Shane Steichen, former Eagles offensive coordinator. He's going to be the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, and they're looking for a franchise guy at that quarterback position. And I was talking with one of my friends back at home over the weekend, texting about the Colts because he's such a huge Colts fan. And when I look at it, this is very important. This draft is probably the most important since 2012 when they had that first overall pick.
Without a doubt.
I mean, you could say that Quentin Nelson draft class, but this one, where it's all solidified.
This is the class that will make or break the Colts program for at least 5 years. At least.
They need it. I don't know who they're going to take, man. I always change my mind back and forth. I'm always leaning towards Levis, but then now I see Richardson. But now with the idea of some team being able to trade up in front of them, I feel like that would maybe make the Colts trade. Maybe they would have to trade up if they feel threatened. Because the Cardinals, they don't need a quarterback. They like Kyler Murray, even though he's injured.
They still got him, and they still have him on a big deal, so they don't need a quarterback.
They have the Eagles defensive coordinator, as their new head coach now. So
he's not a quarterback-friendly guy.
I don't know what's going to happen there. It's just the Colts really need to focus on. But one thing I want to talk about is not just the quarterback position, because that's the one, we talk about that almost every week. Where really do you think the Colts need to focus on in the draft other than that? Because if you ask me, you're safe with the running game. The O-line, if healthy, is good. They're still pretty solid.
I think they need the defensive threats. I think they need good corners. Our corners were kind of old last year. I mean, getting rid of Stephon Gilmore, a lot of people didn't like the move, but I think it was a great move.
That one surprised me. I'm not going to lie.
I think it was a great move. I mean, he's past his prime. He's not really a guy that is a leader, I should say. So it's not like he can mentor younger corners. I just think he's just wasting space at this point. Like, he was a good corner, but, like, his time is up. And we're also a rebuilding team. So why not go get a fresh corner, especially a corner from Indianapolis himself?
Good idea. I like that. I think the defense is definitely something that needs to be improved because Darius Leonard was hurt pretty much all year. I think he was only suited up and healthy for a game and a half, 2 games, something like that last year. But if you really want to feel spicy and you want to go all in a little bit and help your rookie quarterback, whoever that is, whether it be Levis, Richardson, whatever, maybe you go out for a wide receiver.
Who can you get, though?
You're not getting Jackson. I don't know about that. So there's a lot. I mean, there's good talent, but from what I've been able to read online, I've seen that it's really Jackson at the top and then just a very big gap.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Hard,
I
man.
think if I'm the coach GM, I'm going with Julius Brents. I mean, his quarterback prospect, he's the 4th cornerback on Mills' board, but he also scored a 9.99 on an RAS, and the possible is 10, and he scored a 9.99. So
kidding.
basically perfect. This ranked 4 out of 200. Actually, not 200. This ranked 4th out of 2,184 corners.
Wow.
2,000.
That's
I want y'all to
impressive.
hear that one more time.
Shout out, man. Shout out.
I think that he's 6'2". He's 200 pounds. He runs his vertical is 41.5, which he can jump out the gym. His broad is 11.06. His 40-yard dash is a 4.53, which is not great, but he's very long, so it kind of builds up for him. His 20-yard split is what I love the most, 2.57. Now, for you viewers that don't know, a 20-yard sprint is probably the most relevant data you can have in football because you're never going to run 40 yards straight, but you can run 20 yards straight. You can get in and out of cuts. So I will say that 20-yard split was top 2 out of all corners. So I think that they should get Julius. I think he's not a once-in-a-generation type of corner, but I think that he is definitely a 10-time Pro Bowler.
Whoa.
Yes.
You think?
10-time.
That's a hot take right there.
10-time Pro Bowler.
10?
10.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't think he'll ever be the best corner, but I think he can be like a Xavier Howard type of corner.
I like that. That's a good comparison. Now, focusing back on offense for me personally, I'm looking at some wide receivers other than Jackson because, I mean, he's going to be taking day one.
He's high. He's
going to be top
taken
10.
high.
Maybe. It depends on the team that really wants him. Because, like,
The top 10 don't really need
Atlanta looked at him.
I can see the Bears going to get him.
The Bears might
At
need
8.
to.
At 8.
They need a wide receiver that's not awful. Sorry, Chase Claypool. Sorry. But
I'm going to let that slide.
hey, I'm just saying. Who other than Brandon Marshall has been, like, your best wide receiver? Kevin White?
Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah,
Alshon
but he
Jeffrey
was
in his prime.
honestly he is more well known now as a Philadelphia Eagle than a
Stop it.
Chicago Bear.
Stop it.
Am I wrong?
Stop it. Yes.
He won a
you're very
ring
wrong.
with Philly,
You're very wrong. He won a ring in Philly, yes.
but he was a big
dog
contributor
in
on that
Chicago. He was a dog in Chicago.
team. Okay, I'm looking at 2 names here, and luckily enough, the Colts they have draft capital, so they have a 2nd and a 3rd round pick coming up. 3rd round is the 79th overall, and the 2nd is a very early one in the 35th overall.
Okay.
When you look at it, one wide receiver that they could probably take is Nathaniel Dell from Houston.
Yes.
I mean, he's an atypical selection. Chris Ballard likes size like this. Dell's size as a 5'8", 165. Compare him a little bit to Paris Campbell from a few years ago, who's now a Giant, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was a very bad mistake, if you ask me. He just got injured, and he was never really healthy.
Yeah.
He brings excellent footwork off the line, line of scrimmage, and some good release. And like you mentioned, that 20-yard dash that is so important that I feel like not many people talk about.
Yeah.
They just see the 40-yard dash and they're like, oh wow, that's so important.
That's so fast, but it's the 20-yard
It's
split.
the 20-yard split.
The 10-yard split that makes a huge difference. If you have a good 20-yard split and a good 10-yard split, then you would be ready to go. But I like Tank. That's what his name is. But I don't think he fits the Colts system.
That's what a lot of people say.
I don't think that he fits the Colts system because the Colts don't really like to, throw the bubble screen or run quick screens or just RPOs. The Colts are more like pound the ball, turn around, give Jonathan Taylor 25 carries, and let's just see what happens. And I don't think a small receiver like that fits that type of program at all because his talents won't be used. I think you should go get the receiver from TCU. I think that he fits the Colts perfect.
I like that idea. What was that other cornerback that you mentioned that scored really high on that scale, on that quiz, on the test?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Are you talking about
Because I'm thinking about Emmanuel Forbes, but I don't know if you're talking about the right man.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm talking about Julius Brents from Kansas State.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had a great game against Bama. Even though they lost to him by 40, if you watch his tape against Bama, he played great.
But I was just going to mention how, like, Emmanuel Forbes is from Mississippi State. Shout out, SEC. He could be an interesting pick because you mentioned it already. They lost Stephon Gilmore. There's some other prospects. Shout out Kaylee Ringo. I mean, I feel like he's just getting slept on for no reason.
He is.
Why? Like,
y'all could get him in like the third round, second round, because nobody talks about him anymore.
He's a lockdown, I think. I personally think. But I digest. That being said, like with Forbes, he's such an intriguing prospect. A lot of people can consider him like top of the draft board for a lot of cornerback positions. So it brings a lot. He had 14 interceptions last season. That's one thing that Colts I feel like we're missing. It's like that kind of like natural ball hawk appearance. And I think the top three probably you can interchange the last two, but it's going to be a quarterback, cornerback, or wide receiver, and then wide receiver or cornerback.
Like I said previously, I think Quinn Johnson is the guy for the Colts. He's a 6'4" receiver. He had 400 yards in a season. Actually, he had 1,609 yards, but he had 400 yards in his first two games. That's what stood out to me. So he was going 200 yards back-to-back. That's unheard of. He had 6 touchdowns, which is not that good, but his average was 17.8 yards a catch, and he had 60 receptions. But what I like about Quinn is he is 6'4", 215, but runs a 4.3. He fits the Colts system. He can block. He came from a program that had good running backs, so he knows how it is not to just get the ball thrown at him 20 times a game, but has to be very precise in his catches. I think Quentin Johnson is the guy for you guys. His 2021 season, which was his sophomore season, he had 33 receptions, and then his junior season, he had 60 receptions and 1,000 yards. So it also shows improvement. It also shows that he knows where he lacks in his game, and he knows how to attack his game to become better. He's a great stiff arm, one-on-one type of guy, and he's definitely a great jump ball guy. And with him and Michael Pittman on the same roster, both big receivers, I think that makes any rookie quarterback feel confident that you could just throw to a 6'5" receiver. Just throw it up. And
always.
It's a 50% chance. Really 60-40. I think he's a protocol of Calvin Johnson.
Ooh. Now that right there, CJ, I don't know. You might be crazy for that one.
He is. Watch his tape.
All right.
Watch his tape.
Look it up, man. I think we're pretty set on the outside with Pittman.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie when he was drafted, if I was like 100% sold on his potential to be that wide receiver one for Indy, because they were still like going through whoever, pick a quarterback sort of situation, and they still are, which is just so hilarious. But Pittman has really shown up more when he's healthy. It's just he had a tough time last year, and it didn't help when you have that kind of guy like Matt Ryan, who's like 40, and then you just go through
not throwing accurate balls at all.
And then you have Sam Ellinger, and then Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Fine.
Not in 2016 either. Nick Foles of 2023.
I don't even want to know what this is. So I think Pittman, if you give him a right guy with a good arm, he is going to trust him. They're going to build such a good chemistry together. The youth right there and the connection that they can blossom is just it brings like the outsider of me and Colts fans alike something to look forward to.
Yes, exactly.
But I hope they good luck, man. I wish them a lot of good positivity going their way. So, I mean, we're just a couple of weeks away. April 27th is the night 1 of the NFL draft, and then night 2, which is, I believe, round 2 through 3, and then the final 4 rounds of 4 through 7 will be the final day on Saturday. And I think,
sir.
Man, draft day, man, I love it.
I love it. Just to see those dreams come true, it makes me happy.
I mean,
it makes all fans happy.
Look at Brock Purdy. This man
Hopefully
pretty
you
much
guys
got
get
the
a Brock
49ers in
Purdy.
playoffs. Oh, man. I don't know what 49ers are doing, but they got to figure it out. I want to focus now on the last segment here today, CJ. The Indiana Pacers. Their season, unfortunately. Whether you're a fan like me, where I'm kind of happy it's over, or if you're someone that's a little bit more optimistic, and how they should win their games. I think the Pacers ended their season in just a weird way. They go 35-47, and we get it. There were some low expectations going into the season. We're not expecting a team that's being carried. We only got like a little bit of a taste of what Tyrese Halliburton brought to the table after being acquired from Sacramento and shipping off Domantas Sabonis. Which, while we're at it, shout out Sacramento. Like the beam.
Shout out
Sabonis. He's such a likable guy.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that he had to leave Indy. But
it makes sense.
I think that's like what Rolf loves to say. That's the most equal trade in NBA history. We got Tyrese, who's going to be a superstar, and they got Sabonis, who needs to win now. I think it's equal. Nobody got ripped. Nobody got gypped.
No.
I love it.
I like to see that. So they got their final win over the New York Knicks, 141-136. I believe, I don't know if he hit 30. He might have had 26, 28, something like that. But Benedict Mathurin, shout out him.
He played good.
I'm just so excited for really 3 things. And I just want to break it down and then discuss a little bit more into it. First-time All-Star guard, Tyrese Halliburton. We've seen what he can do. But now with another year, he got that leadership mentality.
Yep.
We are, pretty much riding his back right now, and he's got the city on his.
Yep.
So what are you expecting from Tyrese Halliburton going into, offseason and then everything? Because I don't know if the Pacers are going to be a playoff, play-in team still next year, but there's ideas and some question marks surrounding it. I like to see he's going to be turned up a little more.
Definitely. I think Tyrese, him being such a young guy, he didn't have the leader role at first. He didn't know how to lead. But him coming into his 4th year, I think he's going to be ready to go. I think he's going to be dominant. I think that
he's still so young.
He's so young still. Being his 4th year. So young.
We're so blessed.
We're so blessed, honestly. And I think he loves the city of Indy. He loves it. So I don't see him going anywhere. I think this offseason, he's going to work on that jump shot. Even though he has a good jump shot, I think he's going to try to make it quicker.
He's got to be more dominant, like more of a scary
in the
shooter.
Jump shot. Yeah. I think he's going to learn how to play make a little more. And I think our team is going to be good regardless. Next year, I don't know if they're going to be like what Coby said, like playoff ready. But a play-in, I could definitely see them in the play-in next year.
I could see them in the play-in, area.
Be like 10th, 11th, 9th.
I mean, we were kind of on the outside of it all year, really. But like me, I didn't want to see this Pacers team make play-in. I wanted them to try to get their best idea of a pick coming into the NBA draft lottery. But nevertheless, going back to Tyrese for a little bit, he's just so crafty. Like, I love his passion. When he smiles and just everyone in Indiana, everyone at Gainbridge sees him play, it's just, I feel like there's a whole lot of hope and potential going there.
I think that he gives you guys hope. The last hope I could say that has like Tyrese ability, I would say is Paul George.
Not Victor?
Not Victor.
Okay,
I don't think Victor had the city like Tyrese has the city right now.
I believed it, and then
Tyrese, I mean, look at Tyrese is everywhere in Indy. He's everywhere.
That's true.
And I think the fans actually like are growing with him. I don't think that, with Victor, I feel like we never really had that bond. I feel like he came over just because he was an IU kid.
Yeah.
But he never really showed the city love as much as Tyrese did.
He talked about it a lot, but then, when the lights got bright, he would show up, but I always had a weird feeling he would never really want to come back here.
No.
So
I think that this was not a desperate move, but more of a move where he's just like, I have roots there. I went to IU. They will accept me with any performance I have. Compared to Tyrese, he had no roots before this. He making his roots, and I think the city is turned up for Tyrese. And I think that Tyrese can be like the Paul George of the IU Indiana Pacers. Like, what I mean by that is I think that he can, get some veterans around him, get some couple shooters, and they can not make a run, but they can make Indy basketball better. I think they can make it entertaining. And I think that Indy's basketball hasn't been entertaining in a long time.
Let me ask you a question, CJ. Do you think right now, April 10th, 2023, Tyrese Halliburton is a top 50 Pacer all time?
Top 50 Pacer?
Yeah.
I'll have to give you a hotter take. I think he's a top 25 Pacer already.
That's crazy. I wouldn't want to say that just
Let's go
yet.
down the list.
Well,
Let's go down the list.
Well, there's not really a whole lot of...
My point.
There's
top
some
50?
people that... Look, I'm
Top
21.
50?
I'm not 51. So a lot of people would know more.
Top 50? Come on. Tyrese is top 25 now. Probably 25.
Is he better than, Miles Turner, though?
Is he better than Miles Turner? That's what you said?
All time. As a Pacer. No. Right?
One more year, yes.
You think?
Yes, without a doubt.
I don't know, man.
Without a doubt. Miles Turner, yes, he had his, great games and a great season. But at the same token, Tyrese is bringing the culture back to Indy.
That's true. You got me there.
He's bringing the culture back. He's
makes
making
me-
it exciting to play again in Indy. I think that his career is better than Miles Turner right now.
Okay, what about all time?
Okay.
Halliburton, Roy Hibbert.
Roy Hibbert.
Okay,
Roy Hibbert.
all right. See, now we're getting somewhere.
Roy Hibbert
Okay.
was probably like a top 5 center at one point.
Clark Kellogg or Tyrese?
Tyrese.
What? I don't
Yes.
know, man.
Yes.
Clark was
Don't
almost
get
like a
fooled by the
20-point
2Ks
scorer.
on Clark Kellogg.
Stop. He played a pretty good, long time here. What was
He
it?
played a
about
long time, but his
5 years, something like that?
Yeah, he played a long time here, but he wasn't as dominant as Tyrese.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'm just going down this list right now. Detlef Schrempf. Is he not
I don't even know
really,
who that is, honestly.
You don't even know that?
No, I don't even know who he is.
You casual.
You said, what's his name one more time?
Detlef Schrempf.
Yeah.
He was good at shooting. He was in the 90s and 80s.
I must be a casual because I don't even know who that is.
Antonio Davis.
Yes.
You think he's better than Tyrese?
No, I think Tyrese is better than Antonio.
Really?
Yes.
Without Antonio, we may not even be competitive in the 90s.
Antonio had a better team around him. We haven't seen Tyrese with a good team. Who's our second best player right now?
If you were to ask me, I would say Benedict.
I would too. And
Okay.
he's a rookie.
I know.
That tells you a lot.
That's true.
We don't have no help around Tyrese. When we get him some help, we will see how good he is. He made the All-Star team in a very competitive East Conference. Think about that.
That's true.
Very competitive guard play.
He deserved it, though.
He deserved it, my point, but very competitive guard play.
Danny Granger.
Danny Granger.
Okay.
Danny Granger.
This man was only here 3 years, so I don't really know. The Pacers have such a weird history. Chris Mullin. I don't think of Chris Mullin as a Pacer.
I don't either. I think of him as a Warrior.
Exactly.
And I always think of him as a Warrior. So we can't put him over Tyrese. Tyrese is our baby. We love Tyrese. We love Tyrese.
Jalen Rose.
The greatest lineman of all time, Jalen Rose. I'm going to go Tyrese.
No, I understand that.
Jalen Rose was dominant, but he couldn't get it done against the Bulls in Game 7.
Ooh.
Yes.
81.
I hate it.
81 Olives. Rest in peace.
They would have won the championship that year if they beat the Bulls.
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson? No, I can't put Tyrese over Mark Jackson right now.
But Mark was so...
But Mark
so
Jackson is
good.
like a top 5 assist leader all time.
True. I like Mark. He's not respected enough.
He's not.
In all
Give that
time.
man his flowers for his actual hooping days. Not his commentating days, for his actual hooping days.
Really. Jermaine O'Neal.
Tyrese.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Not yet.
Yes.
Tyrese has only been here a year and a half. Jermaine was dominating, and he got us he was a big part of that NBA Finals run. in 01. He was here for 8 years.
He was here for 8 years.
If you ask me, if Malice in the Palace never happened, we would have a banner right now.
You think so?
I promise you. I think we could beat that Pistons team. Or, excuse me, that Spurs team.
I don't know about that one. Colt.
I know.
You guys were you
stretch.
guys was loaded, but I don't know about that one. I don't think you guys beat the Spurs team. I don't. But Jermaine O'Neal, that I would give that a tie. I'm not gonna go Tyrese over him right now.
I feel like that's just kind of hard to say. Tyrese, if you give Tyrese like 2 more years, I think he'll crack top 20, top 15. But right now, there's just really not been. We're just hoping off potential. We're not really hoping off
what he did
off
already.
Success so far.
We also haven't gave him a team like Jermaine O'Neal.
That's what we're trying to help him with.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting at that. And Benedict is a huge starter.
Yeah, he is.
It's gonna be tough. Reggie Miller. I don't even want to.
Tyrese. No,
you're crazy. Someone get this man a map. I mean, the next segment that I want to talk about is part 2 of the 3 parts, and that was, we already mentioned him, Benedict Mathurin, seeing on how well he progressed, because a lot of people were thinking that he was just kind of like a nobody guard out of Arizona, where Arizona's kind of had like a weird feel for like rookies coming into the NBA.
Yeah,
where
they did. It's either you hit with Arizona or you miss with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's no in between. They either come in the league ready, able to play defensively, and are defensive stoppers, or they come in the league slow, don't know plays, and just looks just like a clutter mess.
Right. But Arizona did give us Benedict Mathurin.
Yes.
Benedict Mathurin, I mean, he wasn't really on my radar. I'll be honest.
He wasn't on mine either.
I really like Dyson Daniels, and he barely plays. So
yeah,
I wasn't really expecting. If you're asking me, I would. Oh, man. Still going back to it really opens up my eyes. But I feel like Jaden Ivey would have been amazing here in a Pacers uniform.
It fits, though. He's from Indiana. It fits.
It made
His
so much
mom
sense
is
in
a
the
Notre
world.
Dame coach.
Like, I don't know.
We should have traded up for him. He fits the city.
I think we had a feeling he was going to fall. I just didn't think the Pistons were going to be like, oh, Jaden Ivey, Kate Cunningham.
Yeah, I didn't think that either. I didn't think they even played together good.
And Cade's been hurt pretty much all year besides like 2 weeks. So, and, I mean, we're going to find out next year. And now they have the number 1 overall pick, most likely. So they could get Victor, Marvin Bagley. That whole Pistons team is weird, man.
They're going to be crazy on 2K. I can't wait to play with them on 2K.
Once they're all like, if you go into NBA, 2K, My League, and you just rebuilding the Pistons, give them like 3 years, they'll all be like 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
Victor could be like the most dominant thing we've seen in the NBA since Giannis right now.
He has 2 hopes. He's going to be either dominant or he's going to be like Kristaps Porzingis. It's one of the 2.
Oh, no. Washington Porzingis.
Yes, Washington. Not even New York. Maybe no, Dallas Porzingis.
That was kind of worse, yeah. Man, they had so much hype and potential with him and Luka, and they just fumbled that
Badly.
And they did it again.
But
Ironic how
Kyrie,
it works.
I just think Luka's the problem.
Don't say that.
Luka's the problem.
Don't say that.
Luka's the problem.
Luka
is a younger age Carmelo Anthony.
I don't know.
Think about it.
That actually made
They
a lot of
both
sense.
came in the league with great teams, so they had early success. But they are too stubborn to change their game plan to win championships. He's a younger Carmelo Anthony.
That's hard. That's hard to really wrap my mind around. But
Think about
now
it.
that you mention it, it does make sense. But does Luka potentially leave? There's rumors of him wanting to trade.
You know where he's going? Naptown, baby.
Indiana.
Go play with Tyrese.
Rick Carlisle.
Go play with Tyrese.
Would you trade Benedict for Luka? Oh, I would in a heartbeat.
No.
Really?
No. No. You know I'm trolling. Yes, I'm trading. Come on.
No, I was
Come on.
Benedict has high hopes. There's a good Luka. That backcourt of Tyrese and Benedict can potentially be like top 5 in the next 2 years.
2 years is a push, maybe 3.
Okay.
What Pat Bev say? The next 5 is mine.
It's been 5, and I ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah, next 5, Curry might win his 5th NBA Finals now because of they're going to play the Kings, but that's a whole other. That's an uncut thing. That's tomorrow, 2:30, 3:30, twitch.tv/WZIS-FM. Had to plug that one in.
I love it, Coby.
I love the backcourt of Tyrese and Benedict. And now you add the third piece that I want to talk about was the re-signing of Miles Turner. No one expected such a thing to happen. I didn't think he'd come back. really, why would he want to? I feel like his name's just been thrown around trade rumors ever since the Paul George trade, really.
Ever since Russell Westbrook started playing terrible. It's literally just been trade rumors.
Ever since, man. Turner, however, I mean, he just took a different direction. I think he just kind of relaxed and laid down more and just worked on himself and focused on his off-season workouts and drills.
Yeah.
And then when you get a guy like, don't get me wrong, Sabonis and Turner were fun. They weren't going to do anything.
No.
They were not going to win. But then you bring in Tyrese, and it's like, oh, wow, Miles has like a whole rejuvenated season, and now he's ready to go. But I still am surprised he wanted to come back. I thought he would be traded.
I thought that he would be wanting to play for a contender right now. Mm-hmm. But maybe he sees something that we don't. He sees the workouts that we don't. Maybe they can be good next year, like actually good. Tyrese fits him, though. I think he likes playing with Tyrese because Tyrese knows how to get him the ball in all his spots. He knows how to just like let him take over a game. But Tyrese is also a silent killer, which I like the most about Tyrese. He knows how to play. So I don't think Miles Turner is like good enough where he can dominate a game. But I will say that
it depends on the night in his matchup.
In his matchup, yes. But with the right pieces around him, I think he could be dominant, and I think the Pacers should start like going after guys that can fit around him and not Tyrese, because Tyrese can make anything out of anything. He can make nothing out of something. So you shouldn't go after guys that fit Tyrese. You should go after guys that fit Miles, because Miles does not have that capability to make nothing out of something.
Right. And I'm excited, man. I just want to see something good with this Pacers team, and I think those three alone, bringing back Miles was huge.
Yes.
Drafting Benedict was, you can argue, bigger. And then, of course, the trade for Tyrese. And it's like, we've only seen a handful of games of all three of them together, I feel.
Yeah.
So
we had a sample size, but I really like the sample size. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know if you remember this, Coby, but when you used to go to Sam's Club and they give you the sample cup.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly.
It's a small cup, but you eat it and you like, I need to buy the whole package. I want the whole package. I want Miles Turner.
You were so loud, my ears are hurting. I'm here for it, man. I love the energy. Bring it to me. Final thing before we get off the air today and enjoy our Monday nights is the NBA draft lottery to land the number one overall pick. If you guys didn't know, the NBA is not like the NFL, where if you lose, that's the pick you're going to get. If you're the worst team in the NFL by record-wise, you will get the number one pick. In the NBA, they do not like people who tank. They actually made a rule just recently, a few years old still, where the top three teams now have all the same chance of landing that number one overall pick at 14%. In this case, for the 2023 draft lottery, it'll be the Pistons, the Spurs, and the Rockets. In my personal opinion, I really hope the Spurs get number one overall. I would love to see Greg and Victor. That would be awesome.
Greg needs to retire. His time is up.
I'm
sorry that he's an Indiana alumni, but his time is up.
The Pacers, with the way their last couple of games laid out for them, whether it be, in their own hands and in their own destiny, or whatever was happening in the other side of the league, on the western side and the eastern side, the Pacers now currently are tied with the Wizards for the seventh best odds at 6.8%. So you have the Pistons, Spurs, and Rockets, 14%. Hornets at 4, 12.5%. Trailblazers, who got the fifth best. Free my man Damian Lillard. What is he doing? 10.5%. I saw this one meme where it was like, you keep giving me your hardest battles, and then it's like, you can just leave, bro. You can just leave, Dame. Magic at 9%, and the Wizards, Pacers 6.8%, and then some other teams follow behind them, like the Jazz, Mavs, Thunder, Magic, which is a trade from the Bulls, and then Raptors, Pelicans, and that just depends on how the play and all that works out. So the Pacers at the 8th pick, I want to talk about that a little bit more in the next time we're on who I want to see with them take. They don't need a guard, though. I think they're really looking for a nice small power forward. To
range.
Fit well with both the guard play of Benedict and Tyrese, and then match up well with Miles Turner.
I think they need a small forward, but who can we get out this draft that fits that role?
We talked about him last week. Grady Dick. He's a good shooter.
We don't want Grady Dick.
We got Buddy. I love Buddy. Buddy's a good guy.
But Buddy is not for the future.
He's not.
I think we should trade Buddy this year, actually, in the offseason.
I think his potential. I mean, his market's still up.
Pick up some younger guys. Trade him to a contender and pick up some younger guys.
We got 3 first-round picks, man. We got the Cleveland pick from when we traded Karis LeVert when we traded.
No, you're right.
Did we trade Karis?
Yeah,
for that pick?
You traded Karis LeVert to
You're
Cleveland.
right. Yeah, because we traded Victor.
Yeah.
We got both of them. We got Karis. And did we?
Yeah.
How did we get Karis? Karis was in that big James Harden trade to the Nets.
They just threw us
Karis went from the
for
Nets
that.
to the Pacers, and then we just traded him to Cleveland, which is ironic, but shout out Cleveland. So yeah, we have that pick, and then I think we have a Boston pick, which is very late first round. So I think it's from Brogdon.
Yeah.
So that makes
right.
sense. So
Yeah.
the Pacers have a lot to be focused on, and we're going to take a whole deeper look at that next Monday. But CJ, man, that's going to do it for us today.
I had a great time. Every time is a great time with you, Coby.
Don't
we
say
just,
that.
man,
You know,
I love
you
this
make
show.
Me cry. You make me cry.
I love this show, and I can't wait to continue to get on here more and more. And like I said, roll trees, go Sycamores. I love you guys.
Of course, man. Good luck to Indiana State Athletics this weekend. Baseball, softball, some great things happening on the campus here of ISU, the real ISU. You
Talk
remember
to
that.
me.
You know it. And then, of course, with the Colts, draft's coming up. Pacers, they're now focused on the offseason. Free agency will be a little interesting. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. We only got a month left of school, man. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Times are changing. But we're not going anywhere. I ride or die. Blue and white.
Yes, sir!
Roll trees. Follow all of our social medias at WZIS-FM, man. And, of course, tomorrow, Sports Extra Uncut. CJ, I know you'll be there. I'll be there from 2:30 to 3:30 on our Twitch. Twitch.tv/WZIS-FM. You can check out the latest and greatest in pro sports, where we talk about everything from NBA, NFL, whatever you guys want to hear. We'll talk about it.
Just go on our live and just start asking questions, and we just talk like that.
Yeah. I also upload every audio from Sports Extra and the video/audio from Sports Extra Uncut over on our YouTube channel, so you could be able to rewatch it, or if you missed it, you could just watch it again, and then hit subscribe and share it with your family.
I love it.
You know what I do.
I love
Gotta
it.
keep plugging it, man. CJ, you got any more last words before we get off here today?
I hope you guys have a great Monday. Continue to push yourself in all aspects of life. Continue to grow and continue to keep God first and keep trusting yourself.
I love it.
This week, be 1% better. That's all I have to say.
I like that.
Every day, be 1% better.
Whatever negativity that's going on in your life, whether it was a week, a month, maybe even a year, maybe even a year ago, I just want to see a little bit of improvement from everyone. Because every day is a new opportunity. Life will throw challenges at you, and it just depends on how you respond and take it and become better. You wrap that in, and you go and express it.
Y'all better listen to Cole. Y'all better turn up that radio because he talking that talk.
Hey, I'm going through something too, man. Everyone's going through something.
Hey, everybody has their personal battles. Just continue to fight. Continue to grow. Because at the end of the day, one day, you're going to look back at this battle and say, wow, I can do all things.
Exactly.
Talk to me.
And guys, remember, let's be great together.
1% better.
Always. For CJ Cooper, I have been Coby Clark. Until next time, everyone, have a great rest of your Monday night. This has been Sports Extra on Z90.7 WZIS.